This is for educational use only. Our group grants permission for our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardinis, to use this as educational material.
Welcome to Daily Report. We explore the Bretton Woods system, how it was created, how it worked, why it ended, and how it paved the way of globalization. In July 1944, near at World War II, 733 delegates and 44 allied nations gathered the Bretton Woods system in New at Hampshire, USA. Their goal was to prevent the economic problems that followed the World War I, such as
High inflation, unstable currencies, trade barriers contributing to global conflict.
the conference was led by two influential economists,
John Maynard Keynes and Harry Dexter White.
Together, they designed the international monetary system to promote the economic stability and cooperation. Under the Bretton Woods system, the countries agreed to fix the value of their currency to the US dollar, while the US dollar itself was backed by the gold at $35 per ounce. The system will stabilize the exchange rate to encourage the international trade and support the post-war economic recovery. This conference established the two major institutional and International Monetary or IMF, which helped to maintain the financial stability, and World Bank, which to provide the reconstruction of the economic development.
Today, I will discuss the controversies of the Bretton Woods system. Although the Bretton Woods system helped create economic stability after World War II, it also faced several criticism and challenges. One major controversy was its heavy reliance on the US dollar. Since the dollar became the world's main reserve currency, many countries depended on the economic policy of the United States. Critics argued that this gave the United States too much influence over the global economy. Another issue was the system fixed exchange rates. While they provided stability, they also limited the ability of the countries to adjust their currencies and respond to economic problems. This sometimes made it difficult for government to address inflation, unemployment, or trade imbalances. The system also faced what economists call the Triffen dilemma. To support growing international trade, the United States had to supply more dollars to the world. However, the increasing numbers of dollars in circulation reduced confidence that also dollars could be exchanged for gold as promised. In addition, some developing countries felt that the benefits of the system were distributed unevenly, with wealthier nations gaining more advantages than poorer countries. These problems eventually led to the collapse of the system in 1971 when Richard Nixon ended the dollar's convertibility into gold. So, in conclusion, while the Bretton Woods system promoted global economic growth and stability, it was controversial because it depends on the US dollar.
This is Cadet Adlawan, and I'm going to be tackling about how the Philippines benefited from the Bretton Woods system. When the global financial was rebuilt after World War II under the 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement, the world changed, and so did the Philippines. First, it brought in much needed essentials for rebuilding. Through the newly formed World Bank, the Philippines secured a massive long-term loans. This money didn't just sit in the bank. It built the backbone of modern Philippine infrastructure, funding early power grids, massive agricultural irrigation systems, roads, and port expansions that allowed the country to transition into an industrializing economy. Second, it brought stability and trade. Under Bretton Woods, the global currencies were tied to the US dollar. and the Philippine peso was securely pegged at 2 pesos to $1. This predictability made international trade safe and reliable. It allowed the Philippines to successfully export its major commodities like sugar, coconut products, and timber, bringing a steady flow of foreign cash and investment to the country. But this financial lifeline wasn't entirely free. While the IMF and World Bank provided essential safety nets during economic crisis, the aid came with strict conditions, often called stringencies. To keep getting funding, the Philippines later had to adopt tough austerity measures, devalue the peso, and open its markets, which sparked long-standing debates over national economic sovereignty.
Good day everyone, my name is Shandinil Karambana and today I'll be discussing the downside of the Bretton Woods system in the Philippines. While this helped stabilize trade and investment after the World War II, it also had some disadvantages. Because the peso's value could not easily change, the Philippines found it difficult to respond to economic problems such as trade deficit when the country imported more goods than it exported. In the 1950s and early 1960s, the Philippines experienced shortage of US dollar due to rising imports. To manage this, the government imposed foreign exchange and import controls, which limited access to import goods and slowed some business activities. The country also became more dependent on the US economy, so changes in US policy affected the Philippine economy. In conclusion, the Bretton Woods system brought economic stability, but it limited the Philippine ability to adjust its own economy and increase its dependence on the United States.
Good day everyone, I'm Engine Connect Navales and today I will discuss the collapse of Bretton Woods system. The Bretton Woods system was established in 1944 during a conference held in Mount Washington Hotel in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, US's purpose was to create a stable international monetary system after World War II. Under the system, countries fixed their currency to the US dollar, while the US dollar was backed by gold at a rate of $35 per ounce. For many years, the systems helped promote international trade and economic growth. However, by the 1960s, problems began to emerge. The United States was spending heavily on the programs and military operations abroad, which increased the amount of dollars circulating around the world. As more dollars were issued, foreign countries became concerned that the United States did not have enough gold reserve to support all the dollars in circulation. As a confidence in the US dollar weakened, countries started exchanging their dollars for gold. This caused a significant decline in US gold reserves. To stop the loss of gold, US President Richard Nixon announced in August 1971 that the United States would no longer convert dollars into gold. This action became known as the Nixon shock and effectively ended the Bretton Woods system. And by the 1973, major countries had shifted to the system of the floating exchange rates, where currency values are determined by market focus rather than fixed to gold or the US dollar. In conclusion, the collapse of Bretton Woods system marked a major turning point in the global finance. It ended the gold-black dollar system and led to the modern international monetary system that most countries use today.